Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Most welcome to the class of International Financial Management. Dear students, hope you are doing well. Dear students, today is our 10th lecture of International Financial Management. Today we will discuss the relationship between inflation rates, interest rates, and exchange rates. Dear students, recall from lecture 9 in international arbitrage. We studied the interest rate parity. In today's lecture, we will study the purchasing power parity, the theory of purchasing power parity, and international Fisher effect theory. These two theories will be discussed in today's lecture. Theory of purchasing power parity, PPP, and theory of Fisher effect, international Fisher effect, and their implications for exchange rate changes. And at the last of today's lecture, we will discuss the comparison between the purchasing power parity theory, international Fisher effect theory, and the theory of interest rate parity. Let me start with the very first topic, that is purchasing power parity. Dear students, inflation rates and interest rates can have a significant impact on exchange rates. We have discussed the exchange rates in chapter 4, in lecture 4. In lecture 4, we studied the exchange rate risk. We explained the exchange rates risk in the lecture 4. Therefore, we can influence the value of multinational corporations. Financial management or financial manager of a multinational corporation must understand how inflation and interest rate can affect exchange rates so that they can anticipate how their multinational corporations may be affected, given the potential influence on multinational corporations' value. So inflation and interest rates deserve to be studied more closely. So purchasing power parity states that when one country's inflation rate rises relative to that of another country, decreased export and increase in imports depress the country's currency. We studied this notion, has been explained in the previous lectures, that when a country's inflation rate rises relative to another country, it affects the decreasement of exports and increasement of imports. This notion, that decrease the exports and increase the imports, will depress the country's currency. It means that the country's currency will be depressed by the increase of the imports and decrease of the exports. And this time the purchasing power parity attempts to quantify this inflation exchange rate relationship. So dear students, what is purchasing power parity? Purchasing power parity or PPP always try to quantify the inflation rate and exchange rate relationship. When someone asks you that what is purchasing power parity, simply you can say that purchasing power parity is the concept that quantify the inflation rate and exchange rate relationship. Describe the difference between inflation rate and exchange rate, or explains the relationship between the inflation rate and exchange rate. It means that what's the relationship of inflation and exchange rate? If any country is affected by the inflation, so what will be the effect of this inflation on exchange rate? If any country is depressed by the deflation, so what will be the effect of deflation on the exchange rate of that country? So this is called purchasing power parity. The purchasing power parity exists by two forms, explained by two forms. The first form is absolute form of purchasing power parity. Absolute form of purchasing power parity means law of one price. Law of one price explains that a similar product is produced by the different countries, is sold in the market in the same price. For example, if the same basket of products produced by the UK and the same basket of products is produced by the US, so the same basket of products which are produced by US and produced by UK will be in the same price. It's called law of one price, equal price. This absolute form of purchasing power parity suggests that similar products in different countries should be equally priced when measured in the same currency. It means that when we measure it in a same currency, so the different countries should be equally priced for the same products. For example, if the same basket of products before I told you is produced by the United States and the United Kingdom, and the price in the United Kingdom is lower when measured in a common currency, the demand for that basket should increase in the United Kingdom and decline in the United States. Both forces would cause the prices of the baskets to similar when measured in a common currency. This is called absolute form of purchasing power parity. If the same basket of products produced by Afghanistan and the same basket of products produced by Pakistan. So when we measure both products of these countries, different countries, in the same basket of products in dollars, so dollar is a common currency, when both basket of products of both countries measured in dollars, so this shows that the prices are same. It means that by $10 you can purchase a laptop of Dell in Afghanistan. By the same price, by $10, the same laptop is purchased in Pakistan. So it means that the price of same laptop, Dell laptop in Pakistan, and the price of same laptop, Dell laptop in Afghanistan is same by $10. It doesn't matter that Pakistan has a Pakistani rupees currency in Afghanistan has Afghan rupees currency. So these currencies are also different. But when we measure the same laptop in common currency, that is dollar, so by same price we can purchase a same product in Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan. So this is called the absolute form of purchasing power parity. It's a theory. Purchasing power parity is a theory, and this theory is showed in the absolute form. The second form of purchasing power parity is a relative form of purchasing power parity. It accounts for the market imperfection. It means that relative form of purchasing power parity theory exists in the base of market imperfection, and we explained that what is the market imperfection. Market imperfection means that there are a lot of differences in the different costs. For example, transportation cost in Pakistan is different, and transportation cost in Afghanistan is different. Tariffs are different in Afghanistan and different in Pakistan. Quotas, these are all quotas. Tariffs are the barriers. Quotas and tariffs are the barriers between the two countries on the base of trading between those countries. So it states that rate of price changes should be similar on the base of common price, on the base of common currency. For example, assume that the United States and the United Kingdom, same for the Afghanistan and Pakistan, trade extensively with each other, and initially they have influenced or they have practiced zero inflation on the base of initial trading. Now assume that the US experiences a 9% inflation rate, while the UK experience 5% inflation rate. Under these conditions, purchasing power parity theory suggests that the British pound should appreciate by extremely appreciation of 4%. Why? Because US is experiencing 9% of inflation and the UK is experiencing 5% of inflation rate. So for the purpose of similar prices, similar changes in prices, they appreciate the UK pound or UK's currency by 4%. So US consumers will be paying about 9% more for the British prices of US goods from the US inflation. The exchange rate should adjust to offset the differential in the inflation rates of two countries, so that the prices of goods in the two countries should appear similar to consumers. So this relative form of purchasing power parity. Again, I re-explain this example in the form of Pakistan and Afghanistan. Assume that Afghanistan and Pakistan are extensively trade between each other. On the base of initial trading, there was no inflation in Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan. Now assume that the Afghanistan experiencing 9% inflation rate, while the Pakistan experiencing 5% of inflation rate. Under these conditions, purchasing power parity in Pakistan which is 5% inflation rate, so the Pakistan currency should be appreciated by 4. The Afghanistan currency should be appreciated by 4%. What does it mean? There is inflation in Pakistan 9% and there is inflation in Afghanistan 5%, and both of them are extensively trading with each other. Now what happens for the consumers? Consumers are willing to pay more for the Pakistani goods which are of 9% inflation. So for the purpose of bringing similar prices for the both countries, so the Afghanistan currency should be appreciated by 4% to equalize the inflation rate between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So this equalization of inflation rate between Pakistan and Afghanistan will affect the consumer's purchasing power. So this is called the relative form of purchasing power parity. If we look the rationale behind the purchasing power parity theory, suppose US inflation is greater than UK inflation. What's the effect of this? Suppose the Pakistan inflation is greater than the Afghanistan inflation, or Afghanistan inflation is greater than the Pakistan inflation. We can change these names. So effect of this, that US inflation is greater than UK inflation, so it will increase the US imports from UK. It will increase, you can see the point that this will increase the US imports from UK and decreases the US exports to UK. So pound should be appreciated to equalize this imports and exports. To decrease the US imports from UK and to increase the US exports to UK. To equalize this, for the purpose of equalization of this, the UK pound should be appreciated. If this difference is a 4%, which before we studied that there is inflation rate and 9% inflation rate in US and 5% inflation rate in UK. So the UK pound should be appreciated by 4% to equalize the inflation rate between both countries, and this equalization of currency rate or inflation rate will decrease the US imports from UK and increase the US exports to UK. So by the increasement of US exports to UK and decreasement of the imports from UK to US, it will equalize the trade between both of them. Similar trading between the UK and US. The shift in consumption and the appreciate of the pound will continue until in the US price or UK goods, the US price of UK goods will greater than or equal to the price of US goods in UK, and the UK prices US goods are less than or equal to price of UK goods in US. So this is the rationale behind purchasing power parity. Why purchasing power parity is used? This theory shows that if there is difference in inflation rates, so this difference inflation rate will be appreciated or depreciated to equalize the inflation rate between two countries, and this equalization will bring the prices same between the two countries for the same basket of products. Why purchasing power parity does not occur? Because confounding effects. Confounding effects means the exchange rates are also affected by differential in interest rates. If their interest rates are different, so this different interest rate will affect the exchange rate of the both countries, income level of the both countries, risk of the both countries, as well as government controls. If the government control of US is higher than the government control of the UK, then it will affect the exchange rate. If the risk in US is increased more than risk in UK, so it will affect the exchange rate. If the income level of the US people, US is higher than the income level of UK people, so this will affect the exchange rate. As well as interest rate, if there is high interest rate in US and low interest rate in UK, so again it will affect the interest exchange rate. So therefore the purchasing power parity will not occur. Second, lack of substitute for traded products or traded goods. If both of countries are producing different goods, then the purchasing power parity will not exist. If you remember, I explained it in the example of absolute purchasing power parity form. What was that example? The similar basket of products by the US and by the UK. So if these products are not similar, the basket of products are not similar, at that time the purchasing power parity will not exist, will not occur, because the products are the different. And purchasing power parity affect the law of one price for the similar products, for the similar basket of products. So on two forms, the purchasing power parity will not exist, does not occur. What's that form? The first form is confounding effects. Confounding effects mean the command control, the risk of the country, the income level of a country, the interest rate of country will affect exchange rate. So all these effects will not occur the purchasing power parity. And second, the substitute for traded goods. If the products are not similar, not substitute for each other, so at that time the purchasing power parity will not exist. The second theory is International Fisher Effect theory. International Fisher Effect theory means that nominal risk-free rate contains a real rate of return and unanticipated inflation. It means that the interest rate and inflation rate relationship will be explained by the International Fisher Effect. What is International Fisher Effect? International Fisher Effect shows the interest rate and inflation rate relationship. So this is another theory. In the start of this lecture, I told you that we will discuss the purchasing power parity theory and the International Fisher Effect theory. And the third theory, which was interest rate parity, which we discussed, explained in the lecture 9 in the international arbitrage. So three of them have relationship with each other. When we talk about the relationship between the inflation rate and exchange rate, that is called purchasing power parity effect or purchasing power parity theory. When we explain the interest rate and inflation rate relationship, it means that we are explaining the International Fisher Effect. If the same real return is required, differential in interest rate may be due to differential in expected inflation. If our return is required differential, it is different. So this difference of return is affected by the difference in the interest rate and difference in the expected inflation. Before we explained that the risk-free rate, if a country is experiencing risk-free interest rate, so their interest rate is risk-free, there is no risk related to their interest rate. So at that time, consumers will anticipate inflation. They know that the interest rate is risk-free, so this risk-free interest rate will bring inflation in the country. So this relationship is explained by the International Fisher Effect. If the same real return is required, differential in interest rate may be due to differential in expected inflation. If same return is required by the consumers, by the investors, so at that time the differential in interest rate may be due to differential in expected inflation. Means that there is risk-free interest rate, but if investor want to bring a same return, so the same return will be affected by the interest rate differences, and this interest rate differences will be on the base of expected inflation. When there is difference between interest rates between two countries, so at that time investors and customers will expect that there will be inflation in these countries. According to the purchasing power parity, exchange rate movements are caused by inflation rate differential. We've been studied before. Purchasing power parity shows the relationship between inflation and exchange rate. So exchange rate movement will be caused by the inflation rate. If inflation rate is exists, so this will affect the exchange rate of that country. The international Fisher effect theory suggests that currencies with higher interest rates will depreciate because the higher rates reflect higher expected inflation. Simple, very simple. If any currency has higher interest rate, it will be depreciated because the higher rates reflect higher expected inflation. If you remember, in the purchasing power parity, we discussed appreciation. That was on the basis of appreciation. If there is inflation rate differential between two countries, so the inflation rate suggests that the currency of the low inflation rate country should be appreciated. And Fisher effects theory says that if there is differential in the higher interest rate, this differential higher interest rate will be depreciated because the higher rates reflect the higher expected inflation. So this is on the basis of international Fisher effect. Hence, investor hoping to capitalize on a higher foreign interest rate should earn a return no better than that they would have earned domestically. Simple. If there is a higher interest rate in the foreign countries, so investor will expect that I will capitalize on the foreign currency because foreign currency will give a higher return to them because there is a higher interest rate. If you remember, in the previous lectures, we also studied that if there is interest rate differential between UK and US, if US is experiencing 10% interest rate and UK is experiencing 5% interest rate, so the investors of the UK will extract their funds from the UK and invest back in the US because US is providing higher interest rate which is 10% and UK is providing 5% interest which is lower percent. So the investors of UK will drag out their funds, their investments and from the UK and will invest these funds in the US. So hence, investors hoping capitalize on a higher foreign interest rate should earn a return no better than what that they would have earned domestically. So the domestic investment will provide them lower return because by the lower interest rate, and the foreign investment will provide them higher return on the basis of higher interest rate. Why does international Fisher effect not occur? Since the international Fisher effect is based on purchasing power parity, it will not hold when purchasing power parity does not hold. It means that in the purchasing power parity, we studied that on the basis of two forms, purchasing power parity will not exist. First, the government control, transportation cost, right, and other market imperfections, market forces. If these market forces exist, influence the exchange rate, so at that time purchasing power parity will not exist, does not occur. Second, we studied that if there is not same products, same basket of products, means substitute of products, so at that time also again the purchasing power parity will not occur, does not occur. So if purchasing power parity does not occur, so on the basis of this the international Fisher effect will also not occur because they are related with each other. International Fisher effect and purchasing power parity, both of them are related with each other. So if purchasing power parity does not occur, so again international Fisher effect also will not occur. For example, if there are factors other than inflation that affect exchange rate, the rates will not adjust in accordance with the inflation differential. Simple. Application of the international Fisher effect to the Asian crisis. If you remember, if you studied, there were Asian crises in the Asian countries. So according to the international Fisher effect, the high interest rates in Southeast Asian countries before the Asian crisis should not attract foreign investment because of exchange rate expectations. They were expecting before the Asian crisis. In the Southeast Asian countries, the investors before the crisis, Asian crisis, they were not attracting because they were expecting the exchange rate expectations. So their investment was not attracting by the foreign countries. However, since some central banks were maintaining their currencies within narrow band, they were not allowed to fluctuate their exchange rates. So they were used, central banks were used to bound their narrow bands or bound their exchange rate in narrow bands. Some foreign investors were motivated on the basis of this, but unfortunately for these investors, the efforts made by the central banks to stabilize the currencies were overwhelmed by market forces. So this stabilization, this narrow band fluctuation of the central bank unfortunately affected or overwhelmed by the market forces. And market forces, we better know about the market forces: transportation costs, right, inflation rates and other things, that is we studied before. In essence, the depreciation in the Southeast Asian countries, the currencies wiped out the high level of interest earned. So this then motivated the foreign investors to attract investment or capitalize in a Southeast Asian countries. Now we will compare the international Fisher effect, the purchasing power parity theory, and the interest rate parity. If you remember, in lecture 9 in international arbitrage, we studied the interest rate parity. So these three theories are interrelated with each other. At this point, it may be helpful to compare three related theories of international finance. The first, interest rate parity, IRP, if you remember, which discussed in lecture 9. Second, purchasing power parity. And third, the international Fisher effect theory. These three theories summarizes the main theme of each theory. Summarizes the main theme of each theory. Note that all these three theories relate to the determination of exchange rates. Interest rate parity, purchasing power parity, and international Fisher effect. These three theories summarizes the determination of exchange rates. They have different implication. They have different implications. The interest rate parity, if you remember, which we discussed before, focuses on why the forward rate differs from the spot rate and on the degree of difference that should exist. In contrast, purchasing power parity theory and international Fisher effect theory focuses on how a currency's spot rate will change over time. Purchasing power parity theory suggests that the spot rate will change in accordance with the inflation differential. International Fisher effect theory suggests that it will change in accordance with the interest rate differential. So this is the comparison of interest rate parity, purchasing power parity theory, and international Fisher effect theory. So it will affect again in every lecture. At the last we discuss this formula. It will affect the multinational corporations value, the inflation rate, the interest rate, and the purchasing power parity or exchange rate. So the interest rate parity effect on the MNC's value we discussed in lecture 9. Now we will discuss the inflation effect of inflation on the MNC's value. So value is equal to summation of all the future expected cash flows and expected exchange rate on the base of inflation divided by 1 plus K. 1 plus K. K is the weighted average cost of capital of the parent country. So these will be discounted on the weighted average cost of capital, and they will be summed. All of the cash flows multiplied by expected exchange rates that are inflation will be summed, and this will show the value of a multinational corporation. So this was your today's lecture. I hope you got plenty of knowledge regarding the relationship between inflation rate, interest rates, and exchange rates. We discussed two theories, the international Fisher effect and the purchasing power parity theories. Clear? For now, have a good time, have a nice time. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.